Hey, Soca lovers, welcome back to the BK Rant and Rave podcast, where this season we are focusing on ushering in a healthy new year. I am your host, Deanna, aka Dis Chick, and today I'm joined by Cassie Heyliger, a licensed clinician and family therapist. She has been on panels ranging from topics of women's empowerment to mental health in the Black and Caribbean community. So, welcome to the podcast, Cassie.
Thank you so much, Dee, and thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, for people who aren't yet familiar, because we're going to get them familiar with you and your work, give a little background on what you've been doing, the types of people you've been helping, and just sort of the communities and areas you're focused on.
So, my practice right now is focused on, as blunt as it sounds, on people of color, on especially with a focus on the Caribbean culture. So my clients range from um depression. I'm also seeing some couples. I have some. I see some premarital couples, some married couples. I see families as well. Individuals with issues ranging from depression, anxiety to family issues to identity issues, and so forth and so on. And yeah,
Nice. You cover
most
it all.
right. I think all of my clients are Black, and and if not, like, and most of them are from Caribbean culture.
That's good to hear because, as you know, especially in our culture, mental health and seeing a therapist is not really discussed. It's not really encouraged. It's not really how people, operate. They're just like, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm handling it. Life is hard. It is what it is. So I'm curious kind of how you kind of penetrate those communities, break down those walls when they do come see you to let them know that this is, this is okay to do. This is not, something crazy or is not for us.
Right, right. I think with the use of social media, that's one good thing about social media. I can barely see the benefits. But one good thing about social media, it does half the job for me. So it really does encourage people to seek therapy. And so I went, well, before I even book my clients, we kind of have a chat, um, have a conversation. They get to know me a little bit. I get to know them a little bit, and I get to tell them, just build trust and tell them a little bit how the therapy process works. It just melts my, and I always ask them, I was like, why therapy? This is interesting. And even better, if they're like, oh, my significant other wants to join a session, or my Jamaican father wants to join. I was like, what?
Wow.
Really? They're getting out of their way? Wow. So it's really empowering to see, and it's really encouraging to see, especially with the younger generation just reaching out for help and wanting to talk to people, to someone.
Yeah, nice. And so, how would, if you were recommending someone is thinking maybe they do need a therapist, and unfortunately, we always wait till there's an issue before we want to see a therapist, how do you encourage people to just sort of seek out the right counselor? Because one thing I've known is people will go to a therapist, it's not the right fit, and they're like, see, therapy doesn't work.
Right, right. Listen, therapy needs to match. If therapy needs to work for you, it needs to fit like a glove. It needs to match. And this is why, when I was in grad school, we were taught to spend at least a session or two just building trust.
Mm.
And this is also why I do offer um the free consultation, because I want to make sure that you like me, and I want to make sure I like you too, because and I want to make sure that we match and we can work together, so we can build that therapeutic alliance so our work can be useful. And people need to talk about what they want. This is not going to work out for me, or this doesn't work. And I ask my clients all the time, like, is there anything you want to talk about today? Is there anything more that you want to get out of therapy? Or if we have nothing to talk about, I was like, "Oh, would you like to talk about today? Is there anything more you would like to see from me and everything?" It needs to work, and people need to speak up and get the most out of their experience. So I always tell them, if it doesn't work, this is not, you're not binding through a contract. Express it with your therapist, and find someone that works for you.
Yeah. It's also
Right.
really good to hear, there aren't that many, honestly, that many Black clinicians or therapists. There aren't that many Caribbean or people from the diaspora who understand. Like, I might be dealing with immigrant things that are specifically immigrant issues, right? Like, my parents are from this particular country, but I grew up here, and now I have to like kind of bridge this whole dynamic. And so it's good to see people who might be able to understand that. Do you bring that up with them? Like, okay, this might be specifically, an issue of identity you're talking about, where it's like, where do you fit?
Right. So I do have a lot, and this is the beauty of my specialization. So I do hear a lot about immigration stories, and with immigration stories and how people immigrated to this country, sometimes it comes with trauma,
Mm.
and and just to have someone who is well informed about stuff like that, who understands about stuff like that, compared to just somebody else who just can validate, right? So who just understands about stuff like that is just, it's very helpful. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if
absolutely.
I.
No, absolutely. Especially since you're saying people also need to advocate for themselves like they would with any doctor, right? If it's
Right.
not a good fit or you're like, wait, I think there might be another issue. I'd like you to do this other test, or I might be experiencing this thing. Speaking up and advocating for yourself with your physical health and mental health is important. So I'm glad you
Yes.
encouraged that.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So yeah, it is very important for you to advocate. Just like if you want something more, you demand more from your partner, you demand more from your boss, you demand more from work, and your doctor, no, this is whatever. So this is what I need to focus on. So yes, you need to speak up and make sure you get the most. And I always encourage that. And I say, I just want to make sure you get the most out of the experience. And if I don't work out for you and I'm not the therapist for you, no hard feelings. Like get somebody who can understand you a little better.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that you're building that trust because, in our communities, it's like, you going to therapy for? Like, only rich white people go to therapy. Like, there's no reason for you to go to therapy. Go to church.
Right.
Give it to
No,
God. You're fine.
Jesus is my therapy. You can have Jesus and a therapist too. You can have both, can be true. You need both. You need both.
Yeah. And I do hear that as sort of the opposite, many oppositions to therapy, but a lot of them is, I'm faith based. I'm not going to, go and tell my problems to some stranger. I can go and go to church or get a healing through a sermon or whatever. So why do I need a therapist? Why do I need to spend money on
Right.
therapy?
Right, right. And that's unfortunate, because people don't get the help that they want. And unfortunately, when they actually do reach out, this is why we see people and like, oh wow. And they're recounting 10, 15 years of their lives, and you're like, you just went through all of this by yourself. Who did you reach out to? Who did you talk to about that? They're like, oh, they just told me to pray about it. Right. Well, then 15 years ago, 15 years later, you lost your marriage, you lost every job you ever taken, lost custody of your children, or whatever the consequences of your trauma may have been, could have been, prevented. If you had, if someone normalized it for you to just seek help.
Yeah. And I think that's something people don't think about is not seeking help early. I mean, it's like any sort of
Right.
issue in your body, you want to get it
Right.
taken care of early.
Festers. It festers, and then it grows and it grows, and you tell yourself it's okay, and you just walk through it. And if we had checked out at the beginning, it would have been handled better.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think also, especially when we're talking to Black and Caribbean people, who usually are the listeners of this podcast, I want to leave them with like an action item. I want them to think about, if you're telling yourself, I don't really need this. I'm good. I'm fine. Because you get so used to dealing with your own issues, dealing with your own trauma that you think it's normal to be anxious all the time. You think it's normal to be angry all the time. You think that this is just how people deal. What do you suggest for them? How do they take stock of their own selves to be like, maybe I should seek therapy. Maybe I should talk to a counselor.
Listen, I always say to people, you don't need to have an issue to seek therapy. Life can be good and you have someone to check in once a week, once every other week, once a month. Um and and be open-minded. Everybody's teachable, right?
Mhm.
Even this is why we have therapists who focus on therapists. Because even your therapist has a therapist, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all human and we all have growing to do. And we all have a lot have to learn. Even as a therapist, I am not perfect. I have a little bit of road rage. I have, we all like have little things that we still working on, right? So just being conscious and wanting to be better and wanting to look at ourselves, um, it just makes you a better person, a better spouse, a better parent, a better sibling. And it's like an investment to yourself, just like you invest in your medical and you invest in your education. It's also, investing in yourself, investing in your character, investing in you.
Yeah.
So it's not going to hurt. It doesn't hurt. So talk to one person. And I've had people who was like, I don't know, I just feel like I needed a therapist. Right. And I'm like, so is there anything you want to work on? I don't know. I just kind of like want to let my thoughts go for a week, and and I was like, that is perfectly fine. Like that's great. I'm glad, you want to have this outlet to just have this one person who's non-biased that you can,
Mm.
and those are usually my best clients, and the things we uncover, I'm like, so you needed this,
You thought you didn't have issues.
right? Yeah. So you needed this, okay?
And I love that you also do family and couples counseling. There's a
Mhm.
show on, what is it, Paramount Couples Therapy, which sometimes I'll watch that. And like you said, therapists have therapists, right? So the main character, the therapist, has a therapist. But sometimes in those sessions, when the couples are talking, they're like, well, he never does this thing and he never does that. And then she has to refocus it on, why does that bother you? Why is that triggering you? What's that bringing out of you? So, how does that work with like counseling people who haven't done their individual work and now they're in a relationship?
Right. So, this is something I definitely see, and it's actually really sad. And I've had a couple where I'm like, you know, um, definitely need some individual therapy for yourself because it's like a block right now, and it's hard to overcome that block that you guys both have because of past trauma and past relationships and past attachment injuries. Um, so it's I when I have a couple in front of me, I try to focus on them as a couple. It's not Jessica and John. Jessica's not my client. John is not my client. Is the relationship is my
Mm.
client. So I treat them as a relationship. But what I also do is that, like, if I need to spend a session where I focus more on John and what his family's origin has taught him on how to be a man or something,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
Jessica, or whatever Jessica's idea of, you know, what a wife is supposed to look like. And, some sessions, the focus will be more on one than the other. But I make sure that whatever I do with one or the other, I tie it back into the relationship. Understanding is the base for me, as and I try to make sure they understand. I'm like, oh, do you understand why John do this around this on his end, and do you understand why she does this, and the way she grew up and how she responds to you.
Mm.
So I try to like maybe focus on one person as well, and then just try and kind of tie it up to them as a couple. But listen, sometimes I'm like, it's a
It's all
lot of
his fault.
no. I never take. I try to be as unbiased as possible. I mean, as humans, we think back. We're like, we think back. We're like, okay, but I never try to take even as a human being, and I try to be as unbiased as possible. I try to understand people. Every behavior makes sense in the context and everybody's context and the way you were raised. So I try to understand them as best as possible, and I try to be curious. Why do you think this is okay?
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah. I love that you say the relationship
right.
is your focus and that's your client and that's how you're working on it because we are seeing, unfortunately, all over social media, this whole it's either men versus women or conversations around relationships are really stupid. I'm gonna call it what it is. Like, oh no, you can't take me to Cheesecake Factory. Oh no, she's not, a good enough submissive woman, or he's not a provider protector. Just the conversations are so ridiculous. I'm curious from
I know
a
I'm gonna
therapist
tell
sake.
you, Diana. This is the part of social media that I wish this really irks me. It's every post is like, oh my god, social media is the dating pool is already terrible. So social media is just really not making it easier with all these rules. Men don't do this and whatever, and women don't do this anymore. And it's like, oh my god, everybody just shut up.
Right?
Everybody just needs to shut up. Your man doesn't do this. Your woman doesn't do this. Cheesecake Factory is fine with me, right? Olive Garden is fine with me. They have unlimited, what is it, soup and salad. That's
Yeah, the breadsticks.
I like, right. The breadsticks are hot and delicious. What are you talking about? So I think social media has really put a lot of stress in our relationships right now. Because when you mess up, you find a little quote on social media and you can just kind of post it to validate. You be like, see, somebody else thought like this. So what I'm feeling must be valid, because women ain't doing this and men ain't nothing and all of that. So you just find little posts and little quotes that validates, you know, what you're feeling and you're just running with it. It's I hate it. The whole war between men and women, and we both need each other. we both need
Seriously.
each other. We both need each other, and it's just the bashing, just the
Mhm.
bashing. It's I don't know. I hate that part of social media.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's become so prevalent. Like, I'll hear it when people are speaking in a real life. They're out with people saying things like submissive and high value. And I'm like, oh, why are we doing this? This is not even relevant. But also, that means you don't know what you need in a partner, right? If you
Right.
are turning to these social media checklists, do you know what you actually need in a partner? Do you actually understand yourself enough to know what will complement you?
No, it's like a 50-50. Well, I need 70. I don't care. No, like it's 100 zero, 50-50, 60-40. If people, it's situational. People are different. Every relationship is going to look different. If my husband is making 1 million and I'm making 30,000, it's not going to be 50-50. Like it's very situational.
Yeah.
um and it depends and again, I cannot stress that enough. Whatever the hell works for you and your family and you as a couple. That's
Yeah.
that's the main thing.
So, in speaking about social media, and obviously we can't escape it, it's everywhere. I'm curious how you're seeing, especially since we have younger people who grew up with social media, right? Like, I'm in my 40s. I did not grow up posting every single thing I do in a day on social media, and they are doing it. So, we can't say put down the phone, walk away from social media. This is part of their life. How are you seeing that like affecting them in terms of how they develop a sense of self or that comparison or imposter syndrome? How are you seeing that play out for younger people?
Ugh, so it's I wish people would understand how terrible social media is. For Like, don't see. I could talk about this all year. Don't get me started. Like, I really, it's it's a
You know it's
problem.
bad when you have to sigh.
Oh my God. I read on an Instagram post, or I said, or I did this. It's really, it's a lot of comparison, and people are not understanding that people are posting on their social only what they want you to see.
Hmm.
So this person who's doing all of this and who's getting all of this, she is not posting the times that she struggled. She is not posting all the sacrifice that she has made, the lonely nights and everything that she had to go through. All you see is glamour. All you see is success. And you're looking around and you're like, why am I not where that person is? Or I went to high school with that person. Why am I not there? And why didn't that happen to me? And you start doubting yourself. You start doubting yourself. It just creates a lot of competition. Whether you are aware of it or not, it just creates a lot of competition, a lot of envy. Um, it's just it's it's a mess. I wish people, would just take from it what you need to take from it. I think there's great advantages to social media. There's a lot of
Hmm.
awareness with social media. So few great things with social media, but just like the other stuff is the gender wars, the
Oh my goodness.
flashiness, the overnight success. I just people would just see the fluff in all of that and just put that down. It's I hate it. I really hate it
But it's
here.
hard to teach people, how to dismiss what I would say is like the junk and
Mhm.
take in, because you have movements that are started on social media. You have awareness of political issues, or you have awareness of just like travel and places to go. Year of Return was started on social media, and like a million people went to Ghana because of it. But how do you get people to just be like, okay, this is the junk. This is the thing that is really affecting me in a negative way. How do you
Mhm.
teach them to kind of build up that discernment?
So this takes time. So you just have huh, with social media, honestly, once you start doubting yourself while you're comparing yourself to somebody else's story, this is definitely a clue
Mm,
that this is not helpful, right? If it's bringing you down, if it has you question yourself, if it has you dismissing your feelings, if it invalidates you, this is definitely a clue that this is not the content for me. I have specifically or explicitly told my social media friends, I was like, don't these are not funny to me.
mm,
Don't send them to me. I don't need to see this, the very violently explicit stuff. I don't want to see it. Those little things about Diddy and R. Kelly and all of that other stuff, don't send them to me. They don't do anything for me. I don't care for them. That's fine. You guys can have a laugh about it on this end, but leave me out of it, right? So, but I have done my work. So it's just knowing that if something's, as soon as you open a post and as soon as you see something, you start questioning, that it has an effect on you, right? So this is what the part where you're like, okay, this is not the content for me,
right.
right? And social media is good. What is this called? Like when they keep sending you the things. What is it called again? When they keep sending you the stuff that you keep looking at.
Oh, the recommended content or the For You page.
Yeah, okay. So social media has a good way of picking up the things that you like, right? So once you like me, for example, I like social media for traveling content. If you're telling me you're traveling to Ghana, I'm gonna stalk all of your stories because I want to see what you did there. I want to take notes. I want, that brings me joy, right?
Mhm.
But if you're in social media, always bashing women or women don't do this and women don't do that, and the women are trying to, they're gold diggers and digging on gold that you don't have, so those content, this person would be restricted for me. This content is something that I am not really interested on.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's just kind of limiting yourself and knowing yourself as well.
Yeah. No, I love that. The things that bring you joy. There was a book a long time ago about like clearing out your closet and holding each item is like, does this bring me joy? And if not, you get rid of it. I think approaching social media the same way is very healthy.
Very healthy. And if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, it's good to take a break.
Yeah.
When it's a lot of political issues after it hit social media, I had to like decompress. I had
Mhm.
to just get off social media for a little bit and just really, because it's just a lot going on. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody had an opinion, and I just, you just knowing when to take a break, you know.
Yeah. I think that's super important, especially like you said with political content. I've uninstalled apps for days, which is not good as a podcaster and a blogger when people are trying to communicate with you and they can't reach you because you've just uninstalled Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. I do think, that idea of like the doom scrolling,
Right.
because it's going to, especially TikTok, will feed you content
Hmm.
that you've already engaged with. And it's like, oh my gosh, everything is terrible. Everything's awful. The world's going to hell. We're all destined for like doom. This is horrible.
God. And how is that healthy? How is
Hmm.
that healthy? That cannot possibly be healthy. So listen, I am all for deleting, blocking, restricting, unfollowing, whatever's going to, because you're not about to stress me out on my phone bill, on
Yeah.
my phone, on my social media. So I cannot, if it's just knowing your limits. And I know myself. And I'm a very sensitive person when it comes to the topic and the things that I see. So I'm like, oh, no, this is not for me. That I will unfollow, block, restrict,
Hmm.
all of this. And listen, anything I could do to protect my peace, because if it does not bring me peace, then it's just not the content for me. There's so many beautiful other contents that people can
Hmm.
find in social media. Learning how to cook and vacation spots and just so many other contents that you could fill your day with.
Yeah, definitely. I think people don't realize you can train your algorithm. My For You page is,
Algorithm is the word I was looking for.
ah,
Yeah.
mine only suggests babies and puppies. It's just babies falling down, puppies. There's a hashtag that's like dramatic huskies. Like I just want to see
Oh,
content that makes me laugh. Yeah.
right. Right, right,
And I don't think
right.
people realize you can opt out of certain things. It's one thing to be informed, to be aware of political issues or issues globally, especially if you do travel a lot, you should probably know what's going on. But at some point, you do have to disengage because it just becomes too much.
Right. And I mean, what does that say? I don't want to say what does that say about you, but if you're just constantly looking for some type of, um, anxiety provoking content, if you're constantly fighting with somebody on social media, when you're always, having a political debate, when you're always doing this, like it's time to really look at yourself. And this is not healthy. Social media, first of
Hmm.
all, is not a safe space. I'm learning recently. Somebody found out where somebody lived because of a comment
Yeah.
that he made under a post and followed him home. I see people get fired because of consent that they had on the things or the things they have posted. And best believe if you say something racist, I'm clicking on your page and see who hired you.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, so Of course. All right, baby. Let me go work, okay?
Talking about things that bring you joy.
Yeah, and stress. Yes. So,
Yeah,
for
definitely
me,
good to unfollow and to take a break from things. You're right.
right.
People don't understand that content on social media could have real world consequences. Like you could
Mhm.
lose your job, you could have your friends uninvite you to things, you could get into arguments with your family. Like this can have real world consequences.
Right, right, right.
And I don't think people
This
really
is not fun
think
at
that.
all. I think it creates a, do you remember those days when we didn't have social media and we actually went outside and talked? People, it just, I don't know. It just make people socially awkward nowadays. It just make people don't really have.
Hmm.
It takes away from people's personalities. And I've met people who was like, "Ah, you're so active on social media." You could tell they're like, "Ah, popping bottles, all good, and very social." And you meet them in real life, and we're like, and it's
Yeah.
just a learn. And I'm not saying you can't be somebody who's very, quiet to
Hmm.
himself, but it's almost like you're living a double life. It's like, where is that
Yeah.
personality? Where is that person that you portray to be on social media?
But also why? Like I always say, who is the lie for? Like, why are you putting
Right.
this out? Why are you pretending you have money or that you're constantly taking trips or you live this fabulous life? Who is this lie for? And what does that say about how you feel about your real life?
Right, right. Who are you trying to impress? And I've had friends that were like, I'm sorry, life has been lifing, and I've been going through really hard times, and they feel like they trust me in telling me these things. I'm like, not according to your social media.
Yeah.
And now, and it's funny, but it's also sad because I'm like, part of me is like, I would have reached out,
Hmm.
but you're on. You seemed happy. You
Hmm.
smiling. You're being social. You're going out every day. You are saying how blessed you are in all your quotations, right? And so you're telling me that you're struggling. I'm sorry that you're struggling, but this is also news to me. And at the same time, it's really hard to discern all of that. It's really hard to reconcile all of that because it's like, then why the portraying? Why are we acting like this if we're really
Hmm.
feeling this way, right?
Yeah. And there are definitely some people where I understand, like I'm in the soca world, the Caribbean world, where it's like it's a persona, it's not really myself. I'm promoting music or I'm promoting that I'm going to this festival or whatever it is. But the things when it's like your personal page, and I've seen men talking into the camera about like really deep personal issues. And I'm like, don't you have somebody in your life you could just call for this? Why are you posting this to 10,000 strangers? What are you looking for? This is not going to give you back the validation you might be seeking or anything healthy. I think you need to call a friend or seek out some other sort of help.
Right, right. And just the seeking of the validation is also just another beast of its own because I'm like, why do you keep posting these like very sad things or very negative things about yourself? Like, okay, the first two times I'm gonna be like, no, you deserve better, you're great, but you just keep posting these really like, you know, go heal away from the public eye.
Mm.
It's good that you bring awareness, just struggling or whatever, whatever. But
Yeah.
you need to work on your own healing too. You know, social media. Maybe it's me and it's probably a personal thing. I'm like, these people don't care.
And some of these people aren't people. Some of these are
Exactly.
bots.
Exactly. These people don't care.
Hmm.
Um, I remember one time. And a good thing a friend told me was, I think back when I was going through my divorce, and I posted something on social media, and she texted me on the side. She was like, take it
Mm.
down. Nobody like no like they don't, not that nobody cares, but I'm sure it's. I don't want you to be a subject of gossip. because these people
Yeah.
are just it's all they're doing. Just is it's these people don't care, and if they and half of the other half just want to see you fail. It's not,
Yeah. It's
so
entertainment for them. It's
it's
not a
entertainment for them.
connection.
Right, right.
Yeah. And I do think, just back into real life, I think because so many people are used to the facade and used to seeing other people portrayed, even if they don't post themselves, they're like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be like this. It's almost like, I don't know if it's with ADHD or autism where it's like you're normaling, like you're mimicking somebody else doing something because you're like, oh, that's what normal people do. I should do that too, and then I'll be normal and I'll just do what other people are doing. And I just see this affecting people way too much in real life where they're not being their authentic selves because they're just like, well, no, I'm supposed to be this type of person, or I'm supposed to dress this way, or act this way, or be this way, and not being an individual. It's almost, someone had said, social media is like high school all over again.
Right. And you're putting on a mask. This is all a mask. At the end of the day, it's going to fall off. And the only person who's really hurting at the end of the day once the computer is closed and everything has stopped, it's really you.
Hmm.
And it's really hard for people like me who like to check in on people that are close to me and make sure they're okay, to understand that you are struggling. So this is a mask, and this is like all of this. Is it worth you suffering in silence?
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
trying to trying to live a life that you portray a life that you're not living, right? Don't get me wrong, on my social media, I post a lot of traveling stuff and happy stuff as well, but I post a lot about mental health. I post a lot about, some people will have a great year. Be like, and you're gonna hear it this year. Some people are gonna be like, this was my best year. I realized this year, and I'm like, okay. And if all you did is survive, I'm speaking for me. This year was a battle, and I have yet to meet somebody who had a great year this year.
Hmm.
It's been a struggle for a lot of people this year, right? I'm like, listen, if you just made it through by the skin of your teeth,
Yeah.
let's normalize that. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Because
If
some people didn't.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. So, if you made it through and you refuse to give up, that's an accomplishment. That's as big
Hmm.
as an accomplishment as somebody who bought a house.
Fair. Yeah. Absolutely. And you're right. We do need to normalize, like, just regular everyday life, not necessarily with, I'm doing all this travel, I'm doing all this, I'm buying jewelry, I'm doing all this stuff. But like, I will say, and I am a fan, when you post about coffee, you're speaking to my heart.
Listen, if you're posting about coffee and dogs, please follow me and I'll follow back. Because those
Aw.
bring and traveling.
So I do also want to talk about, just brief segue into it, because I think it's important and we're seeing this happen a lot more, especially as we're talking about like male loneliness and how that's playing out on social and how that's affecting men specifically. But what we're seeing is kind of an uptick in also men taking their lives because they're not having those outlets for communication, for community, for building those bonds. I'm curious if you're seeing that at all in your work or if you're aware of it and your take on that.
There's always been a struggle to get our black men into therapy. Always
Mhm.
been a struggle. You know how, like, us women, we go through a breakup, our girlfriends are like, girl, yeah, let's go through a tub of ice cream together, let's go Netflix, let's go shopping, happy hour, boop, boop. We're all excited, you know? Men, I've seen men go through worse, divorce and everything, and they're like, you alright, bro? You good? I was like, well, I don't know. I don't think he's good. But
Right.
there's definitely the misconception um that we don't. I wish more black men would check in on their black men, on their fellow black men. And I
Mhm.
want black men to understand that if they're struggling, they're not a burden. People struggle. You're human, right? things happen. Um, Again, a good thing about social media, with the use of social media, I am seeing more Black men reaching out and getting services and admitting that they're struggling. But there's so much more work to be done. So much more work to be done. And just even when you get them to therapy, just get them to open up. Um it's just so hard. And it's not to fault them either, because they're so conditioned
Right.
to be, worried. They're so conditioned to numb their feelings. They're so conditioned to, that their feelings don't matter. You gotta man up. Happy wife, happy life. It's just everything is geared toward, you know, making the other gender comfortable. It's always, to man up, to just, they keep your emotions to yourself. So it's such a longer journey for them to seek help. And even when I do get Black men in my offices, their homeboys don't often know that they are seeking therapy. It's almost like a little bit of shame. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
nobody in my business. I don't want them to know that I'm struggling. I don't want this. I don't want that. Right?
Yeah.
Um. So there's still a lot of stigmas with our Black men, and once we start talking about it and putting more out there, then because men commit suicide at way faster rate than women.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think the idea of just kind of making it normal for men to
Hmm.
seek counseling or to go to therapy. One thing I love, and I'll be very honest, I did not love the second season of Survival of the Thickest, but I did love that they included that the guy in the show was going to therapy and kind of like how he navigated that. How do I even find a therapist? How do I open up? And it's like immediately think getting defensive, like this man is going to judge me. And so creating that safe space for them to just have a conversation.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's important, just even as women surrounding men, even men who don't date women, just surrounding men and being like, it's okay. Because for me, and one of the reasons I wanted to broach this whole topic and do this whole series is because unfortunately, the only emotion that is ever normalized with men is anger. Anger turns to violence. And now we're all suffering because you didn't have another outlet or another way of getting those feelings off your chest. And so I
Hmm.
am very concerned about our men because, yeah, happy wife, happy life, but, happier men, fewer crimes.
Right. Happy, happy spouse, happy house. How about that? Right.
Oh, I
So
like
like,
that. Branded.
yeah. So how about like, and I always tell. And I had a couple that says, how my brother was like, yeah, whatever she wants, man. Happy wife, happy life. And I'm like,
Your feelings count too.
yeah, yeah, no, right? Because all that is invalidating or minimizing your feelings, because your
Hmm.
feelings do matter as well. And once you start feeling validated and you start feeling empowered, it shows up in your relationship. Happy wife, happy life, and she gets away with everything, and there's no compromise. That's what I think about when I think about happy wife and happy life, right?
Hmm.
That means somebody's getting their needs met and somebody's being left in the dark. And of course, it's you, it's the man, right? So both feelings need to be valid at this moment. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that starts even from day one. You look at weddings and it's all about the bride. It's the bride's day. It's the bride. And it's like it's the
mhm,
groom's day too. Like this is a partnership that is happening, which is also why I get annoyed with those conversations of leadership and all of this stuff. It's like leadership, followership. I'm like, how about partnership? How about fellowship? Can we do that? Do we always have to make it you're leading,
a
I'm
man,
following?
a man. Let's not.
Say it. Say the quiet part. Say it.
Let's not start about that. It's one of those social. Isn't that just about exploded in the past few months or years, about like a lead? I need a man that's gonna lead. Women don't submit again. Blah 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 blah. And we just talked
Mhm.
about how angry men are. Like, you have to understand that we're not living in our grandmother's time anymore. Women, especially black women, are the fastest growing professionals, right?
Mhm.
So we are getting educated. Listen, I can be as educated as I want. I could be, right? I still need my man because there's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff around the house I'm not doing. I don't know what a drill does, right? And that little thing in my car that keeps lighting up. Please and thank you, right? So it's this thing about being submissive or being leaders and everything. It's just getting, it's just being diving deeper into the gender wars
Yeah.
because yes, men lead or whatever, but no one is going to follow you blindly. It's like men accusing women of being gold diggers. You have no gold to dig, for me to dig, right? And people got to create a sense of safety. And a sense of safety is going to therapy, talking to someone, building yourself, and creating that sense of safety. So you can be a better leader. So your partner, can be a better partner to you, and that works both ways. And the women too, just
Hmm.
understanding because women as well, they have been I know women like to brag about I'm an independent woman. I don't need anything. Boop, boop, boop. This is a trauma reaction. Hyper independence is a trauma reaction. You probably have never met someone who you can trust enough to kind of let you take a lead. And the I get it because I'm it, why would I trust and be vulnerable to someone when I've been doing and I've been independent since I was 16? And you're telling me to let go, that you're about to leave. Let's ride or die. What? Where are we riding to? And why I gotta die?
Why gotta die?
Why we gotta die? And why
Let's
are we
not go
riding?
there. I don't want to die. Let's go somewhere else.
Right. Right, right. I'm not the right of that. I need to know where we're going and
Hmm.
how we're getting there. What's the mode of transportation and how you leading me there? Because I'm so used to getting myself there. If I have to completely let go and trust you enough to lead me there, I need to first again trust you enough to allow you to take the lead.
Ooh, you're preaching to the choir. So I'm going to open up because I want women to see themselves reflected here because I've been categorized. I did not categorize myself as very independent. And you're right. I've been doing a lot on my own. I moved away for high school at 13. Like I've been managing my life on my own. So even as someone who does things for herself, trust me, I don't wanna. I don't wanna. It'd be nice if I could trust you to get that done. It would be nice if I could offload some of this work. But how do you find a way to create that space for someone, especially if you are very independent as a woman? Because now we're diverting a little bit, but I'm gonna get a little free therapy here. How do you now create that space for someone to come in and be like, I am healed, healthy, supportive, and here's how we can work together.
It to me it all starts with trust. I'm with you, D. I always tell men that um I don't need you, but I want you, right?
Right. Hmm.
Um I am used to doing things on my own. Trust me, any chance I get to not be an independent woman, I'm gonna take it.
Hmm. Of
Please
course.
take care of me. Please bring the softness out of me, the being feminine. Please bring all of that out of me, right? But how do you tell someone who has been relying on themselves for over 30 years to just relax
Hmm.
and um and take the lead, right? And just we go on planes and we trust, right? That the
Yeah.
pilot has years of experience of flying planes and he's going to get to you safe, get you
Yeah.
to destination safely, right? So this it all starts with trust. right? It all starts with building. And I have met men who are like, I'm a leader, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take over, don't worry about it. And I'm like, this is you, no. We're not doing it.
I
We're
don't
not doing
trust you to navigate
it.
this.
Right, right. If you're coming already, I'm a leader, you have to understand that people come, with their stuff too. And a lot of these women are independent. So things like this take time. They
Mhm,
take trust. And trust is not built overnight. It's by little. It's by action. It's
mhm.
by words that are matching your action. It's by the way you show up for me, right? And is the things that you do. And I'm not even talking about paying my bills. I'm talking about like the sexiest things men have ever done for me was take my car out and put air in my tires just because they thought that it was low. You know,
Mhm.
I saw something that wasn't safe and like I'll walk you to your car. I don't want you to come out. Just just those little things. Just by actions, by little, it's like you're building a
Yeah.
house. So by blocks and putting blocks and blocks and blocks, of course, my walls come down and I start to trust a little more.
Mhm.
This is
Yeah.
where you create a sense of safety, and this is where you can feel your independence going down a little bit.
I love that. Yeah. The consistent action, the being thoughtful. One of the things I say is I don't want to be a list girl where I have to give you a list for everything. I'm running to the store, give me a list. What do you want done around the house? Give me a list. Like, you see this? You ate yesterday, buy more of that. Why do you need a list?
Yes, and it all comes with understanding your partner's language as well.
Hmm.
Man, because listen, that's the funny thing is I have couples, right? They come and be like, I already told him, like he should know. I'm like, should he? Should he? Tell me more how he should.
Hmm.
Because I don't want no man to be mad at me in your podcast, but they be like, I have to tell him 25 times. I was like, man, yes. You know, yeah. As annoying as that sounds in the house, and as just exhausting as that sounds, like sometimes I like children. You have to tell them, yes, do you not see this? Of course, it makes sense. So just understanding your partner and understanding their language, and it's beautiful to have a man be like, okay, I see this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take over.
Hmm.
But some men,
They need lists.
it could be crumbling brick by brick, and they're like, "Babe, you saw that? It's yeah, goes over their head."
Wow. Wow. Yeah, no, do not. Yeah, especially if it's like, you know what, I'm gonna get the mortar and put the bricks back up because you didn't see this crumbling and now I'm too independent, but I don't want you
Right,
to fall in.
and now it's an injury to their ego, and
Yeah.
now you just injured their ego, and now we have another problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Ooh.
have a
So I'm
problem in
definitely going to have to book a few sessions. I see that already. Um
definitely. I got you.
like
I got
I appreciate the advice, especially, we're talking about men's mental health, we're talking about mental health in general, especially for Black and Caribbean people, but also being very proactive in your healthcare, making sure that you're advocating for yourself, seeking out the counseling and therapy. And then also when you're doing partnerships, really understanding how do we relate to each other to make this thing work instead of going on social media.
social media is the worst. Social media is the worst. I just wish people would just take what they want, like things that make them happy, and leave the rest. Leave the fluff, because it'll have you thinking men hate women and
Hmm.
women hate men, and it would just really, it's just really, it's really terrible out there. And no one is those men who hate women supposedly they're married, they're happily married.
Right?
It's all fluff. And it's all
Yeah.
fluffy, all worked up for no reason. I just wish people would just take from it what they want.
Yeah. Especially if he's broadcasting from his car.
Right.
He's not saying that in front of her. I really do think that, especially these days, being aware of things that bring you joy, make you happy, and some of the things that trigger you, seek out therapy, seek out counseling, try different therapists. Don't just go to one therapist and be like, well, therapy doesn't work because that particular therapist didn't work for me. Seek out more and definitely get the help you need.
And also that people need to understand that is not like, I mean, it could be as intense as you want it to be, or it could be as vague as you. We've had people that are like, I'm just here for one session. I just need a really quick check in my life. And I've had clients that, when they came to me, they were in crisis. So I
Mhm.
was to see them twice a week. I used to see them once a week, and then now it's just like they're on maintenance. So I see them once a month, and they're just keep me updated of what's been working, or and I leave the door open if they really feel like, oh no, you need to fit me in tomorrow, then I fit them in tomorrow. But it's you can make of it whatever you want.
So, if you had to, let's say, define mental wellness, because right now people just think, well, I'm not depressed, so I'm good. How would you like actually define mental wellness or being mentally healthy?
Mental wellness can look different for different people, right? Mental wellness for somebody who's been continuously depressed might be, oh, I am now finding the motivation to do things that I like again. I'm finally feeling like myself again. Mental wellness is going to look like you being everything that you can be, and you doing the things that make you feel whole,
Mhm.
whether that is in your career, whether that is in your volunteer work, in your service to others, whether you are eating or living a healthier life, whether you are closer to family or closer to friends and you're taking care of yourself. Mental wellness can look like however you take care of yourself, right? For me, for example, mental wellness looks like being with family, being with friends, exercising every day, just being around positivity.
Mhm.
Um
And a big
and
plate of oxtail. Got it.
a big plate of oxtail. So I'm working on the health eating healthy part. Help me. I'm
There
trying.
is no healthy way to
I'm
eat oxtail. I'm
trying.
sorry.
I've tried it. People are like, you could bake. I was like, absolutely not. Extra gravy. Don't like. Let's no.
There you go. Moderation. In moderation.
I get. I guess. So it's really doing the things that you know the things that brings me joy. Like my son brings me joy, my work brings me joy, my friends they bring me joy. Exercising, traveling. That's what makes me feel fulfilled. That's what brings me joy, right? And I can ask you and other things it will be mentally look like being mentally well to you. And I can ask someone else. It could
Mhm.
look totally different. It's whatever brings you peace and brings you joy.
Yeah, I love that. And just anticipating some of the comments, because we are talking to Black, Caribbean, African, the whole diaspora, where it's like, well, I like going out drinking a beer and, doing this or smoking or whatever it is. Like, and they don't realize that this may not be the best way to deal with what you're going through, and maybe there are some other healthier options.
So my question would be then, what is drinking and smoking and going out and what is that? Everything has a purpose. So is it because it's your friends? So you just like being social. So you just like having a good time. So you just like, enjoying each other's company. So it's not I think it's the alcohol, it's the cigarette, it's the smoking, it's the all of this, but what does all of this mean to you? So you like getting together with the people that you care about. You like socializing. You like being around people. So everything has a definition and everything has its purpose.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And so if you could
Mhm.
look at our communities and be like, "Oh, that person's got it. They're thriving. That person gets it. That person's doing well." How would you notice that? How would you see that showing up?
Um, the person is genuinely content with their lives.
Mm,
There's no need for seeking outside validation. Um, there is very little questioning of themselves. This person is living and doing everything that they want to be. And in our society, um we have come to believe that it means this person has $1 million in the bank. I've met people who live very, modest jobs and doing the things that I love and having their little gardens and having their little dogs or whatever, and having their little careers or their big careers and doing exactly what they love. And to me, that's a person who's thriving. That's a person who's doing exactly. I met somebody and I was like, "How you been? It's been a long time." And he was telling me everything that he was doing. And to me, that's a friend who was thriving.
yeah.
Because when I met him a few years ago, he told me, "This is where I want to be. This is my goal. This is my vision." And now that I met with him, he's doing everything that he wanted to be. Has a family and he's loving on his kids and he's doing the career and the business that he wanted to do. And they're probably very middle class, family. But to me, he's like, "Listen, I sleep good at night. I wake up. I am grateful." So to me, that is, and he's like, "I'm blessed. I cannot complain." To me, that's someone who is thriving.
No, I love that. Even the way it makes you smile to talk about how happy he is and how far he's come.
Right, 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 right. He worked for everything, and it's not, being flying every a vacation every other month or anything like that. It's exactly what he wants to do, and
Yeah.
it's exactly what brings him joy.
And honestly, these days, that's the gold ring. That's what we need to be reaching for. Is
Right,
just finding joy, finding peace,
and
finding
not
contentment.
comparing, not comparing. Get off social media. Stop the
Fine.
comparison.
I'll
You're
get off social media.
exactly where you want to be. You're exactly where you want to be. And things are not as beautiful and roses as it seems. I
Mhm.
promise you, life is lifing for everybody. They're just not showing you that part.
Yeah, absolutely. But if someone had to be on social media because they need to follow you or get in touch with you,
Yeah.
how can they
Yeah.
find you? How can they find your coffee chats? How can they learn more about what you're doing and upcoming panels? Listen, this woman stay busy. So how can they stay in touch with you?
um, so I am on social media as Coffee Talk with Cassie, all underscore coffee underscore talk with Cassie. And as far as referrals, and I'm still working on my website. It should be up by hopefully the first or the second week of January. But you can always find me on Psychology Today, and if you type my last name Cassie Heyliger, I should come up. And you could
Perfect.
call me, text me, email me, follow me on social media. I might be speaking at an event near you if
I
you're in
love
the New
that.
York, Jersey, Florida area.
Nice. Oh, she the whole East Coast. Okay.
The
All right.
whole East Coast.
For now, until you're international.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Speaking it into existence. Thank
Yes,
you so much,
indeed.
Cassie, for joining the podcast. Thank you for sharing these gems, these pearls of wisdom, making sure that people really understand how to advocate for themselves and find the mental health and support that they need. So I
Right.
appreciate you coming on and sharing that. Thank you so much for joining the
Thank you
podcast.
so much for having me. It was great talking to you. We'll chat again soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, this is not the last time. We have so many
Oh,
other you have
wow.
a wealth of information for nutritional health, physical health. We will get into other topics. Trust
I
me.
am down. That sounds great to me. Sounds great to me. Thank you so much for having me. And yes to soca. What is it called? Soca?
Yes, soca music.
Hello.
I'm gonna.
Oh yes.
We're
Listen,
gonna bring
that's
you
another
in.
form of therapy. You still need a therapist, but soca helps too.
Soca heals. Oh wow,
Soca
yes,
heals.
we are going to bring you into the soca, the Caribbean world, to jump up the
Yes,
festivals.
yes,
Absolutely.
man. Soca heals. Thank you, Dee.
Yeah.